Good morning, girls, and welcome to our final video assembly of the year. Next Monday, you will be meeting virtually your new class teacher for September, and they will have sent you a video to be watching instead of an assembly next Monday. Today's assembly is all about mountains, and I wanted to share with you something that I achieved almost a year ago, but more about that later. My fascination with mountains began at an early age, from reading books such as Heidi, which was set in the mountains of Switzerland. I also loved the film The Sound of Music, set in the Austrian mountains. I used to watch the final scenes over and over again, where the Von Trapp family walk over the mountains to freedom. Here's a little clip for you to see. I also remember being fascinated by avalanches on mountains. This is where snow falls down a mountain at such a rate and such an amount that it covers everything in its path. A mountain can be a very dangerous environment to be in, not just because of the risk of avalanches, but also because the weather changes greatly from the foot of a mountain to the summit at the very top. And so anyone attempting to climb a mountain should be really respectful of what could happen. Have you ever climbed a mountain? Or would you like to? Do you know the difference between a hill and a mountain? Well, a mountain is bigger than a hill, and a mountain has to be more than 305 metres high. Mountains are often important to religions too. Many spiritual events have happened in mountain settings. Let's see if you know about any of these. Mount Sinai is in Egypt, and it's also known as Jebel Musa. It was on this mountain that the Bible says that God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. In the Old Testament of the Bible, we also hear the story of Noah's Ark. And Mount Ararat is the mountain where Noah's Ark came to rest after the floodwaters had receded. In Islam, it was in a cave on Mount Hira where Muhammad is said to have had his first vision of the angel Jibril, who gave him a message from Allah. This first message and all the other messages that the angel later gave to Muhammad were collected together to make up the Quran, the holy book of Islam. Mount Fuji is a beautiful mountain in Japan, and it's regarded as holy by Buddhists as well as the followers of the Japanese Shinto religion. Mount Kailash is in Tibet, and it belongs to a mountain range called the Himalayas. This particular mountain is sacred to 4 different religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism and Bon. This is one of the ancient spiritual traditions of Tibet. Machu Picchu contains the ruins of a palace, temples and other buildings high up on a ridge of mountains in Peru. And all around it are mountains that were of the greatest religious importance to the ancient civilization, the Incas. Mount Everest in Nepal is also in the Himalayan mountain range, and Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. Lots of mountain climbers attempt to climb Mount Everest, and we're going to find out about a few of them today. This is Junko Tabai. She was the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest, and she did this in 1975. She then went on to become the first woman to summit the highest mountain on each of the 7 continents. This is the so-called 7 Summits Challenge. This is Sophia Dannenberg. She also reached the summit of Mount Everest in 2006.
At the time, I probably thought I was going to grow up to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something, but I was always one of those kids who was exploring and figuring out different things.
Climbing a mountain can be really hard work, but what makes it worth it is the view from the summit, the very top. Some mountains are topped with snow because they're so high that the temperature at the top of the mountain is so much colder than at the base. This time last year, I was preparing to climb not just one mountain, but 3 mountains. I trained for the challenge with Miss Lynn, some senior school teachers, and some senior school girls and their parents. Here's what the 3 Peak Challenge looked like. So from Nottingham, we took the drive north all the way to Scotland, and this is where our challenge began. First of all, we had to climb Ben Nevis, the tallest mountain in the UK, and come back down. Once back down from Ben Nevis, we then had to drive south all the way back to Scafell Pike, the highest mountain in England. We began climbing Scafell Pike at 11 p.m, so it was dark, and the whole ascent of the mountain and the descent was done in darkness. After that, we drove west into Wales, and we reached Mount Snowdon, and this was our final climb. All the way to the top and back down in 24 hours. Reaching our first summit, the top of Ben Nevis, was absolutely amazing, but we then had to remember to get back down, back into the minibus, because we still had 2 further mountains to climb in less than 24 hours. Here's Miss Lynn and Mrs. Pilling at the top of Ben Nevis. I've already told you that the second mountain we climbed in darkness, and here's a picture of the group of us and myself at the top. We had to wear head torches so that we could see where we were walking. It was really scary in parts. And here's a picture of the final mountain that we climbed, Mount Snowdon in Wales. Although I felt a huge achievement reaching the top of Snowdon, the challenge wasn't completed until the descent of the mountain had been made and we'd reached back to the start, all within the 24 hours. Here's me and Hannah, one of my daughters, at the bottom with our medals on, proving that we, as part of this team, had achieved the National 3 Peaks Challenge. Sometimes people talk about mountains in their figurative language. They might say, the view is worth the climb. This means that doing something that seems really, really hard work is worth keeping going, because when they get to the top or to where they want to be, it makes the hard work all worthwhile. Sometimes people might talk about moving mountains, and we all know that mountains can't be moved. They're fixed firmly to the surface of the earth. So when we talk about moving mountains, it means that we're able to do something that seemed almost impossible at the start. So if I said that NGHS teamwork can move mountains, I'm talking about something that almost seemed impossible until we worked as a team to make it happen. Perhaps we might think about how this term has been, being at home and doing our guided home learning. Working as a team has made that really difficult task possible, and we've all been a part of that team. So now you've found out how I achieved this. Let's see what awards you have achieved in the last week. Congratulations to this week's Silver Awards. Kutsia Noor, Anjali Baines, May Lyons, Ella DeMambro, Olivia Clark, Evie Douglas, Milan Bidmead, Gasharan Guevara, Samaya Nanda, Simar Lander, Huda Mahmood, Isabella Spencer, Arlene Shergill, Zainab Mohammed, Prableen Kaur and Sophie Kai. Congratulations to the following girls for achieving their Gold Award. 300 house points since September. Well done to Megan Price, Isha Verma, Alana Pritchard, Aria Khanna, Eva Hewen-Ray, Nicole Mellows, Ruby Tassi, Isha Ujla, Misha Bassi, Francesca Fruin-Wells, Elizabeth Fairhurst and Esme Flower. And finally, we're adding 2 more names to our Roll of Honour for their Platinum Award. That's 400 house points since September. Huge congratulations to Bella Charles Richards and Issika Gadri.